The great Bobby Belt.
Bobby Belt is an idiot.
Don't make me take off my belt.
Don't make me take off my belt.
We're not. Over to you, Bobby.
Is Pete Carroll about to pull the rug out from one of his former assistants? This buzz was picking up big time yesterday afternoon around lunch. Speaking of lunch, if you want to go to lunch today, I'm going to be going to Twin Peaks in Southwest Fort Worth. Oh. So if you want to go hang out there and talk Cowboys for a little bit, I'll be out there from 11 to noon eating lunch. Great deals over there at Twin Peaks. $7.99 lunch specials. You're not going to regret it. But we can talk about some of this Cowboys coaching stuff while we're out there. And yesterday around lunchtime, it really started bubbling up. And you started hearing more and more people not saying, hey, Pete Carroll's the new favorite. Or, oh, we're all of a sudden going this direction. But it was enough of a factor or a detail that it caused some things to change up and shift. And I think caused some people within the walls of the Star to say, let's slow down for a sec. Let's stop. Let's think about this. We don't have to jump headlong into this. Let's just think about something. Jory Epstein over at Yahoo has a fresh article out about the Cowboys coaching search where she's just kind of recapping where things stand and different things like that. And she's trying to figure out, all right, if it's not Schottenheimer, then who is it? Like, if they don't go with Schottenheimer, which direction is it? Because I think everybody at this point, you said 98% yesterday. Are you still at 98 or you tick lower?
Tick lower. I'll probably go like 95%. 95, 96% that it's Schottenheimer.
Are you? Have you moved off of your, what was it, 78% was your last check?
Went down a little bit yesterday. About 75%.
I'm still at 90 because I think it's going to be Schottenheimer. I got to have a 10% factor for I don't know what Jerry may do. And so that's part of the complicating factor. The coaches that could be in play if it's not Schottenheimer, if something completely falls through, Jory Epstein names a lot of the ones that we've already been talking about. She mentions Pete Carroll, obviously, is a big focus here. She mentions how much Jerry has talked about Jason Witten as a good future head coach and different things like that. There is an opportunity for some buzz to be kicked off this week, depending on because I know he's supposed to. I don't know if that's going to go through or not. Deion Sanders is supposed to be here all this week. And he's supposed to be practicing up in North Texas, I believe, right now.
Travis Hunter was at the Mavs game the other night.
And you've got Shedeur Sanders, who's going to play in the East-West Shrine game. And Deion is supposed to be in attendance for that as well. That is the plan. I don't know if that's totally confirmed, but that is at least the plan. I think that Deion being here present, Pete Carroll placing a phone call, or them having a conversation, I think both of those factors might be enough for Jerry to just say, you know what, guys, why don't we just tap the brakes on trying to run this through? As long as this feels like it's taken, which is actually, there are other jobs that have taken longer. New Orleans is still out there. As long as this feels like it's taken.
New Orleans doesn't even sound close. Neither do the Raiders, do they?
As long as this is taken at this point, I think this
Raiders are supposedly talking about Pete Carroll.
I think we could still be looking at a week from now. We don't know who the head coach is, because I think you've got enough factors out there that cause Jerry to go, hey, you know what? Let's just slow down. We can talk about this for a sec. Why can't I just spend some time with Deion before I go ahead and make a coaching hire? Why can't I make a pitch?
Keep it going. We got 30 weeks till training camp. So that's let's see, times 5. It's 150 shows we got to do before training camp. So let's keep it going.
What were you bringing up about a search firm?
Okay, so a lot of these teams use search firms, right? The Jets used a search firm.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Cowboys? We kind of joked about it when they did it, that they used a search firm to find a guy that they already knew in Aaron Glenn, that Tannenbaum already knew, that Parcells already, that the whole organization already knew Aaron Glenn. Did the Cowboys commit kind of an error in not doing this? Because we see so many college teams use search firms. Almost all of them do. In regular walks of life, you'll see headhunters find people jobs in the business world. You got to fill your executive role. You don't just post a job. I mean, you post it, but you also, find a headhunter. They find you people. And, the Cowboys, checked off 2 boxes, and then they interviewed 2 assistants. And it's like, all right, well, maybe we're going with it here. And I think if the NFL was really serious about the Rooney Rule, they would mandate you use these search firms because they can find you candidates. And maybe the NFL helps with that, but I don't know. I just think, you're not doing your due diligence if you're just interviewing people that you know And then, oh, well, this guy kind of talked his way into an interview because you were trying to get intel on somebody you already know is higher.
I wish the Cowboys would expand their search. I also understand, at least I can rationalize, not agree with it, but I can rationalize at least. I understand why they want familiarity.
I can rationalize, yeah, for sure.
Because I think a large part of what Mike McCarthy would even tell you he struggled with here in Dallas was his lack of familiarity with how things operated here, and that was a genuine challenge for him all 5 years. And so I don't blame them for maybe saying, hey, when it comes to drafting players, we like to draft big program players. We want to know they can deal with the spotlight. When it comes to coaches, we want to know some idea that you are going to be able to handle this because this is different. And so I'm not justifying it, but I at least can understand the thought process, and it makes sense to me of like, I get why they have that as a position, but it can't limit you every single cycle.
Let me attack another word in that family of familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
The other word that kind of can be in a family of that meaning is comfort. That word yesterday, it triggered the S out of me when someone on the phone talked about the comfort of Stephen Jones and everyone else. It's more about comfort for them. It's more about not having things shaken up. That piece that came out from Ty Dunn where Jerry was, think about that. Jerry Jones was miserable with Bill Parcells running something legit here because Jerry didn't get to play with his toy. He said that after the final regular season game. I didn't get the Cowboys. Jerry Jones got the Cowboys for an occupation, he said. He gave this Mike McCarthy line. It was for my kids, Landman. Yeah, John Hamm, I see you. And he's like, no, I did that for me to have a job. And the comfort level seems and sounds like it's winning out in this search, and that is a disgrace to the community. You are the person. Yes, it's within your right, but part of the obligation of a team owner, Robert Kraft talks about this all the time, you owe it to the town, you owe it to the city, you owe it to your fans to do what is best in the interest of winning, and I am 1,000% of the belief that the Dallas Cowboys don't put that first because of the comfort level of everyone else in their executive chairs, and that sucks.
Look at that transition you just set me up for, and you didn't even know it by mentioning Robert Kraft. Shout out to good buddy Kent Garrison, who works over at The Athletic and does stuff on their digital side with their podcasts and different things like that. He had texted me, Rossini apparently on her Scoop City pod this morning was talking about the hiring of Vrabel by Robert Kraft in New England, and the reason why Kraft, apparently according to Rossini, had so aggressively and quickly locked up Vrabel is because the Cowboys had massive interest in him being the next guy.
Why did we talk to him?
Because Vrabel got snatched up too quick by Kraft, I guess.
He was already snatched up by Kraft, I think, before they got rid of McCarthy.
Which, I mean, how long ago did we hear that? Last spring, we heard whenever that job comes open, Vrabel would like a crack at it, right?
At which job?
Dallas.
You said that.
No, and so, that's something that has been buzzing. It doesn't surprise me. And so I'm sure Kraft knew that too. Was like, I got to lock this down.
Okay, but can we get an interview? Can we get a sit down? Was Mike Vrabel so married to the Patriots and so scared of taking off Robert Kraft that he would not have spoken with Jerry and Stephen Jones? Or did the Joneses know that it was a complete waste of time? Didn't you say he would at least put it on the same exact footing, this job?
He had told people, I had heard all the way back at Combine last year, there was buzz that he was communicating to people that when the Dallas job comes open, that would be near the top of his list. Like he would be interested in that job.
Yeah, but I think the Patriots were the top of his list. I think that's the difference. But also, the Cowboys job wasn't open at the time.
Was had Mike been moved on from yet by the time they actually hired Vrabel? I can't remember if Vrabel got signed up before the negotiations with McCarthy had fallen apart or not.
What do you remember the date that McCarthy? So it said the club has
January 12th, Patriots hire Vrabel.
January 13th is when things fell apart with McCarthy.
Okay. So they weren't again, the calamity of no plan.
Their
plan,
scrambling. See, I think Mike screwed their plan up, not Vrabel, McCarthy.
Yeah.
Because their plan was to bring Mike back.
Yes.
They wanted to bring him back. And that's that's okay. If they thought that he was the best, that's fine. Like that was their plan. They wanted to continue with McCarthy. Mike screwed it up. McCarthy screwed up their plan. He screwed the whole thing up this offseason.
Yeah, but I'm not giving them a pass. Like you, I think, should have known going into a meeting, if you don't know that your employee is going to have a negative reaction towards something you suggest, something happened in the meeting that turned McCarthy off.
Yeah.
And if you are unaware that could turn him off to the point that you don't have any backup plan, I'm not giving the Joneses a pass for not having a backup plan if Mike McCarthy was not receptive to whatever they introduced to him.
And here's my issue with it, is that do you view Vrabel as like, well, I guess that's a nice consolation prize to Mike McCarthy? Or did you think Vrabel is a better coach than McCarthy and you were just getting cute and not doing what you needed to do? If you think Vrabel is a better coach and he's free and he's open, then you should have made the call on McCarthy earlier than that and said,
yes,
we're going to go off and we're going to interview Mike Vrabel. And that's where...
And then their hourglass, if I could go over there and smash one thing in that building, it would be their hourglass. I hate that freaking thing.
Settle down just a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Is today payday?
No, I think so.
I'm fine with them waiting now and dragging it out.
Yeah, now you got to wait.
I mean, you don't have to wait. But I was not fine with them waiting to start because now Ben Johnson and Belichick and Vrabel are all gone. Now it's the leftovers. Now it's...
Well, Belichick was gone middle of last year.
Well, you could have talked to him.
Could have.
You could have, again, saved me with the non-tampering stuff. I'm not saying it's a you. Everyone cheats. Everyone tampers. They could have let it be known to Belichick, we're interested. We want to have a conversation. And now I'm fine with waiting because of how depressing and sad the candidate list is versus the big dogs that you didn't talk and reach out to
now it would
start.
I mean,
your hourglass.
You want to talk about a slippery slope. If they wouldn't let McCarthy talk to the Bears during that week of exclusive negotiating, but they went and talked to Vrabel instead, you know what I mean? Like, like
they went behind Mike's back?
Yeah, but they wouldn't let him go interview or even talk to the Bears. I mean, that would look atrocious on them.
No one would know.
No one would know.
Like, everyone tampers.
Yeah, of course.
Tampering's a thing.
But like it.
Well, I mean, didn't he do that with Dion? It wasn't the report. The report was not Dion and Jerry talked right after McCarthy left. Wasn't it that we had heard that Dion and Jerry had talked like informally over the course of a couple weeks, and so they had already done that.
More on it at 9:20. Let's see if we get some breaking news in the final hour of the show. Choppy says if you think the Chiefs are going